From the Jeannie Hayes Virtual Studio, this is Marquette Now.
Good evening, I'm Roy Bowler.
And I'm Kelly Arsenault. The Milwaukee community is mourning the victims lost at the Miller Coors shooting last week.
Milwaukee is finding different ways to remember them. Reporter Vanessa Rivera takes a look at how the city is reflecting.
The sun sets another day in Milwaukee. The city reflects on the past 7 days following a mass shooting at Miller Coors. And so do Marquette students.
Gun violence isn't something that just happens off of Marquette's campus or, far away from Wisconsin, but this is something that is happening really, really close to us, and it's no longer something that doesn't impact this community and this campus.
The brewery sits 2 miles from Marquette's campus, and the half-staff flag pays tribute to the victims who lost their lives in the shooting. A vigil at the Church of the Jesu brought the Milwaukee community together to remember the victims.
Dale Hudson, Janine Levitz, Jesse Valley Jr., Donna Walker, and Joe Rizzo.
A temporary worker at Miller Coors has one word for the incident.
Hesitant, I think. Pretty hesitant. Had a lot of questions. Didn't know kind of what to expect. We just kind of felt like we needed to take it on ourselves to be proactive in whatever situation was going on. We didn't hear anything, or I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything. Other coworkers did. And so we just kind of went off of their word and off of the security notification to lock ourselves down. And so that's what we did.
Marquette's police department were first responders and are reflecting on the situation.
We train for a situation like this pretty frequently. We're going to learn from this event. Now that we've had officers actually deployed in a situation like that, they're going to be able to come back and tell us what worked, what didn't work, what they felt some of the challenges were, and then we'll train to try and improve our response.
While the police department reviews their training procedures, community members are finding ways to support one another.
I think it's important that we strengthen relationships as coworkers to understand struggles better, to understand what someone may be going through. I think that builds community, and I see that in different ways at the company through many other coworkers. Building a relationship that's trusted as a coworker, because you want to be there to support your coworker and to support what everyone's doing together.
I'm Vanessa Rivera, Marquette Now.
The Marquette University Police Department is offering the Vacant House Watch program to students over spring break. The program is for students living in the near off-campus neighborhoods. Students who are leaving campus next week can register their residences to be monitored on routine MUPD routes. To register, visit the Marquette Police website.
It has been a tough month for the Marquette community. From stray bullets to a mass shooting just down the road, students have seen violence and tragedy right at their doorstep.
As Marquette Now's Kevin Reed reports, students have not lost their sense of safety here on campus.
The passing of a police car. An all too familiar scene for the Marquette community over the past month. The death of Keys business dean Joe Daniels at the intersection of Wisconsin Avenue and 10th Street.
I didn't personally know Dean Daniels, but obviously it was tragic, just awful, and you never want to see things like that happen to anybody, let alone one of our own at Marquette.
And a stray bullet rupturing the glass of a newly built residence hall has hit too close to home.
When you go to college in a place like Milwaukee, that crime is always going to be a thing. And it makes you feel better knowing that the bullet was fired, I think 4 blocks north it was. But still, the fact that the bullet traveled that far and hit so close to home, it kind of makes you realize that maybe you're not as safe as you thought you were.
If there is a situation where there's a brick or glass shattering and you're in a room, obviously you want to get down to the lowest level that you can.
And just minutes west of campus, 5 innocent people were fatally shot at the Molson Coors facilities. But according to students, MUPD keeps them feeling safe in these times of violence.
I think they do a really good job at keeping us safe.
I know they're doing their best out there. They're getting us informed, and so in that sense, I am grateful towards MUPD and Marquette.
On the Marquette campus, I'm Kevin Reed, Marquette Wire News.
The search for a missing University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee student is entering its third week. 18-year-old Shawn Baek disappeared after reportedly taking LSD with a friend. UWM's Dean of Students released a statement on the situation. He says police have conducted an exhaustive search, both physical and electronic, on campus and in the community. The search is ongoing. Anyone with information is asked to contact UWM Police at 414-229-4627 or Milwaukee Police at 414-935-7211.
As the coronavirus continues to spread, there is concern about students studying abroad in high-risk countries. The Office of Engagement and Inclusion contacted Marquette students studying in Milan, Rome, and South Korea to return to the United States as soon as possible. The Marquette University Medical Clinic advises students to wash their hands often and stay home if they're ill. For more information, stay tuned for Down to the Wire or visit the Office of Engagement and Inclusion's Education Abroad Health and Safety website. Members of the Milwaukee community gathered to take part in Hops for Hearts, a fundraiser for children with heart defects.
Marquette professor Callie Churoff created the event from the heart. Brian Geenan has more on the story.
Creating a reasonable fundraiser can be difficult.
It's just not accessible for a lot of people to pay an expensive amount.
But Callie Churoff, an assistant clinical professor at Marquette, may have found something reasonable in Hops for Hearts.
You got 5-ounce pours of craft beers from all sorts of breweries from around Milwaukee.
The event raised money for local families with children suffering from congenital heart disease, a problem that affects 1 in every 120 babies born in the U.S.
We were able to give a local family $10,000 after Hops for Hearts.
Churoff can understand how much that money will mean now.
Being able to do that makes it worth it because we know that we're making a difference.
Just 2 years and 8 months since her child received a similar diagnosis.
The July before he was born, we found out that he had a heart defect. I didn't realize how common congenital heart disease was, but my son had it.
Churoff's son, Theo, was born prematurely at 32 weeks, weighing only 3 pounds, 3 ounces.
So it was a very dangerous situation. They gave us a 50% chance that he would live through everything, and he did.
Over time, Theo had more complications, and in March of 2018, Churoff endured something no parent should ever have to go through.
I had to say goodbye to my first son.
After he passed away, Churoff said she couldn't just sit around.
I had to do something with my sadness and my grief.
She created Project Bubbaloo, a nickname Theo had gotten from his family.
What we wanted to do was spread congenital heart disease awareness.
Hops for Hearts is not a start, nor is it an end, as Churoff hopes to create a national platform in honor of Theo. For Marquette Wire News, I'm Brian Geenan.
Tim Hanley will be the new Interim Dean of Business Administration. The announcement comes after the former Dean Joe Daniels died tragically last month. Hanley has served as the College of Business Administration's Executive of Residence since last October. He will start as the new dean on March 9th.
Cobain Hall will be transitioning into a co-ed dorm next academic semester. The Office of Residence Life received student feedback that previous Cobain residents would have preferred a co-ed experience. Cobain is currently the only all-female dorm on campus.
Still to come on Marquette Now, a student lacrosse manager runs his own business. We take a look at a day in his shoes.
And a closer look at the band that won it all in the Battle of the Bands competition. That and more when we come back. Back to Marquette Now, I'm Roy Bowler.
And I'm Kelly Arsenault. College is a busy time for many students who try to juggle school and social lives.
One Marquette student adds even more to his plate by coaching and running a business.
Marquette Now's Nick Artinian has the story.
Brendan Connelly is an undergraduate assistant coach for the Marquette men's lacrosse team. However, that's not even the most interesting thing about him. Brendan, better known as Stock Boogie to his clients, runs his own shoe business here in Milwaukee.
It first started with just buying and selling a couple shoes that I really liked. So like this shoe, that shoe I bought was my first shoe that I liked. And then I realized I needed to make a little money since I was working as a volunteer.
What Brendan didn't know about his future business was how much time and effort actually goes into running a shoe company.
It's a lot like stock market, so shoes fluctuate, different prices on different websites. Finding the stock for high-end shoes is very tough, so that's why I have to resort to finding more casual shoes to sell to a lot of people.
How does Brendan find people to sell his shoes to? Proximity.
I have a couple clients that are on campus. I know there's a couple other kids that also have a business very similar on campus, but a lot of the people I meet and I know are interested in buying shoes because I have very high-end shoes, but also very just very casual shoes. So I have people that buy all of them on campus.
Coaching lacrosse while also running a business can be a little difficult, according to Brendan.
Sometimes I get sidetracked when I should be watching film. I really struggle with that, but I think I've learned to cope with that and really allot my time to where I'm only doing shoes when I go home from work.
However, Brendan's coworkers aren't such harsh critics.
That's not even work for him, you know. Stock boogie's something that he'd want to do, you know, on his own time, and he makes time for it because he loves doing it.
I'm Nick Artinian, Marquette Now.
Give Marquette Day brings in donations every year from alums, students, and other donors. This year, the goal was to secure 2,020 donors. The event nearly doubled that number, securing almost 4,000 donors to raise over $1 million for the Marquette community. 5 bands played in Marquette Radio's Battle of the Bands, but only one could win.
Jaime Lugo has more about the winner, Chelsea Sidecar.
February 21st, the band Chelsea Sidecar won Marquette's annual Battle of the Bands competition. The 4 members gave insight as to what they do and their performance experience.
I'm Nick, I'm the drummer in the band. We're kind of all like a little bit of jack of all trades. We all play multiple instruments.
My name is Will Futch, and I play bass and potentially a myriad of other things for Chelsea Sidecar.
My name is Alex Markowitz. I am the guitarist. I sing a couple songs, and I write some songs too.
So I'm Graham. I'm the guitarist, frontman, songwriter. I compose all the music. The other guys that you see on stage are just puppets.
Chelsea Sidecar is also a relatively new band who played in their first show last November.
Well, the band's only been around for a couple months now. Our first show was in November. Me and Alex actually formed the band originally last semester, at the end of the semester, because me, Alex, and Graham were all in a different band at the time.
Which is why it came as a surprise to hear that they won.
Oh, we were shocked. We were completely shocked. Like, we did not expect to win. It was our first gig playing with one of our new members, Will, and honestly, like, I felt like we just did not do the best with our performance.
But for this new band, the sky is the limit with what they can do. I'm Jaime Lugo, Marquette Wire News.
So Kelly, winter's winding down, and I'd have to say it's been pretty mild.
It has been. Like, I've been wearing my light jacket. It's been nice.
It hasn't been a bad winter, and we're going to throw it over to Ben now in his spring-colored Hawaiian shirt.
I like it.
Yes, thank you. I was hoping that somebody would notice, finally. But before we get into the spring break weather that I'm giving you, let's check out what's going on right now. Right now we're sitting at a cool 37 degrees with humidity about 64%, low chance of precipitation with winds coming from the southwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Let's look at your state view for overnight. Unfortunately, it's going to be very, very, very cold, especially up north over in the Superior area and over by Minocqua and Eau Claire. And if you head out west to La Crosse, you get that one area that is above freezing. And then if you head over to home base in Milwaukee, you're seeing 31 degrees. As for tomorrow's highs, oh boy, look at that. We're seeing 40s finally in the forecast, especially over in Green Bay, surprisingly at 43 degrees, and in Milwaukee at 46. It's going to be looking really good. Let's look at tonight. Pretty cold, 31 degrees with humidity about 66% and precipitation at about 10% with winds coming to the southwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Tomorrow morning, well, we're looking at clouds, unfortunately, but by the afternoon it should be clearing up with a temperature sitting at 46 degrees with humidity at 57% and precipitation at about 20 and winds coming again from the southwest at 17 miles an hour. But let's look at what's exciting, the extended view, your 5-day forecast, Marquette, and what's sticking out to me and probably sticking out to everybody else is that 59-degree high on Sunday. Looking to be a really good spring break. As for Friday and Saturday, 37 degrees and 49 degrees, and unfortunately a little bit of rain on Monday, and on Tuesday, a little bit colder, 38 degrees. That's it for weather. Stay tuned for sports.
Welcome back to Marquette Now. I'm Jacob Rose with your Marquette Sports Update. It's March. The most exciting month of college basketball has begun. In his last game at Fiserv Forum, it wasn't surprising Marcus Howard put on a show. However, Miles Powell and the Seton Hall Pirates had different plans. Jack Phillips recaps Howard's final performance in Milwaukee.
A day to never forget for Seton Hall, as the Pirates spoil Marquette men's basketball's fun. On senior day,
we ran into a team that played great, and we didn't play our best, but Seton Hall had a lot to do with that. People better watch out, and, I've felt all year long, they've dealt with a lot of injuries that people have underestimated them a little bit. Their Final Four good.
Despite losing 88-79 Saturday afternoon, senior guard Marcus Howard totals 37 points in his final collegiate game in Milwaukee, impressing not only Marquette Nation, but even his rivals.
What I've always been so impressed with Marcus is his stamina, the ability to make a play when you've played 36 minutes and you got to take a shot and make it. I think that's what makes him elite.
The loss may be tough, but it can't overshadow what these three seniors have done for the program. And the overall mission remains the same for the Golden Eagles, with still 2 regular season games to play.
Though it didn't cap off with the win, it's still a tremendous memory or a tremendous moment to be able to share with guys like that, who are just first-class guys, first and foremost, and then they're unbelievable players. So there's still a lot more basketball to be played. We still have a lot more to prove, a lot more to do with our seasons. Yeah, this isn't the end. Of course, it's the end of an era here in Milwaukee, but we still have a lot more basketball to play.
Reporting alongside Amy Galashewski from Fiserv Forum, Jack Phillips.
I love you guys too.
Marquette Wire Sports.
Last night in Chicago, Marquette suffered a nail-biting loss, 69-68, to the DePaul Blue Demons. The Golden Eagles are now 8-9 in Big East play. The team heads to St. John's Saturday for their final game of the regular season. A day later, Marquette women's basketball upset then number 16 to remain undefeated in conference play at home. Jack Phillips reports from the energized Al McGuire Center.
Defying the odds. Throughout Big East play. And what better time to finish strong than on senior day with a W over number 16 ranked DePaul.
It's something that we've been looking forward to ever since that first opening conference game. Something that we've had in the back of our minds every practice, every game. It feels amazing to finally work all week and then get the win like this, especially for our seniors. It's an amazing way for them to go out, and couldn't have wished it to go any other way.
Entering the 2020 season, Marquette was picked to finish 9th in the Big East Conference. Well, it's March now. The Big East tournament commences in less than a week in Chicago. Oh, by the way, Marquette's going to finish as the number 2 seed entering the tournament. Safe to say Coach Duffy's pretty happy with her team.
Wow, super excited about this win today. To have our 2 seniors, Altia Anderson, Izzy Spangola, go out on a high note here at the Al McGuire Center was tremendous. To not only do that, but to obviously get a quality win going into March Madness was so crucial. The statistics with our team, from rebounding to a lot of people in double figures, we sustained the end of DePaul's whoosh. Really thrilled with the end result today.
The Golden Eagles now head south down I-94 as the Windy City awaits for the Big East tournament. And Marquette's journey continues to silence critics, as it only adds fuel to the now roaring fire.
At the beginning, when that poll came out, it went up in our locker that day. We wrote that they picked us ninth. So I think, every practice, every game we go in with a chip on our shoulder, like showing them that we're not ninth. And just the work ethic and the determination by our team has been great this whole season. And I'm just so proud of our team and where we're at.
Reporting from the Al McGuire Center, Jack Phillips, Marquette Wire Sports.
Head coach Megan Duffy's team is 22-7 on the season and ends 13-5 in Big East play. The Golden Eagles have locked up the number 2 seed in the Big East tournament that begins Friday. That's all I have for sports. Don't go anywhere because we will be right back with Down to the Wire.
Marquette Now. I'm Kelly Arsenault.
And I'm Roy Bowler. We're back with another episode of Down to the Wire. Assistant News Editor for the Marquette Tribune, Alexa Hirado, is joined by Executive News Editor Annie Mattei live in the newsroom with more information about the coronavirus and its effects on Marquette's study abroad programs.
Hi Annie, thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about what happened to the study abroad programs in Italy?
Yeah, so after coronavirus started escalating in Italy, it's now at level 3 status, which means that all non-essential travel is discouraged. Both Marquette and universities in Italy canceled their programs, so students that were studying abroad there had to go home. So this included Gonzaga University, which canceled its program, and then Marquette recommended students studying at University Cattolica and in Rome to go home due to the severe conditions.
Okay, and so how did students react?
So students were very disappointed. A lot of students said that they felt like they weren't ever going to have an opportunity to do these things again, and a lot of them had booked travel for the rest of the semester that is not going to be refunded. And a lot of students were saying like they feel like people they met there they never got a chance to say goodbye to just because they had to go home so quickly.
Mm-hmm. And so what will happen regarding the rest of the semester for those students?
Yeah, so it's kind of all up in the air right now. Marquette isn't letting students come back because they didn't really accommodate the students for residence halls, and it's kind of too late in the semester for students to get caught up with in-person classes. But students, like their programs at the programs they were studying abroad at, have said that maybe they will be able to continue it virtually through those schools. But a lot of students have been saying maybe they can try to do online classes or something to make sure they're not behind a semester.
Mm-hmm. And so have there been any other programs affected?
Yeah, so in China, there was a student studying abroad at the Beijing Center earlier this semester, and his program got canceled in January, and so now he's back at Marquette, and he's in just about 12 credits because he just barely missed the add drop deadline for classes, so he kind of had to get pushed into the minimum amount of classes. And then there were 2 students studying in South Korea, and their program was also canceled. Those are the only programs canceled as of now.
Okay. And so what's the status of the coronavirus globally in the U.S. and also in Wisconsin?
Yeah, so coronavirus has really escalated. There are a lot of cases worldwide, with it being about 90,000 cases worldwide. And then in terms of the U.S., we've been seeing more deaths as of late. There are, I believe, 11 deaths right now, and those are mainly in Washington State, and then there was one announced today in the state of California. Mm-hmm. But in Wisconsin, there is only one confirmed case of coronavirus. Okay. And the Marquette Medical Clinic said that there's a low risk in Milwaukee.
Okay. And so has there been anything else that's interesting that you've learned from this story?
Yeah, so in Italy particularly, students in Milan that was the worst area affected, and when they were encouraged to go home, like a day later, all flights were canceled out of Milan, so they all had to travel to another location and then fly out of there. But Marquette also issued a statement today regarding spring break travel and what to do regarding coronavirus concerns, because obviously there are a lot of level 3 countries like China and Italy, and then I believe Iran is also a level 3 country. So they said that all university-sponsored travel over spring break to those areas is canceled, and then they also really encouraged that if you are going to one of those areas that you self-quarantine yourself for 2 weeks, and then they said that as for domestic travel, nothing has occurred yet.
That's all we have for tonight. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
That's all we have time for tonight. There is no show next week because of spring break, so join us in 2 weeks when school resumes for more Marquette news. I'm Kelly Arsenault.
And I'm Roy Bowler. Enjoy your break, and good night, Marquette.